Hello and welcome to the Video Creator Show. This show is brought to you by VidChops.com, an editing service that helps take the burden of editing off your back. Check out VidChops.com to see how you can save yourself tons of time while taking your YouTube channel to the next level. Hello, I am your host, Grant. Today I'm here, of course, with Augie Johnston, and we're going to be talking about the all-important topic of burnout. Burnout is when you're feeling like you don't want to do it anymore. You're tired, you're anxious, something's off, you're spinning in circles, you maybe are able to show up to the plate, but you can kind of feel the end coming. Maybe there's a feeling of doom, a feeling that this isn't going to work out. But actually, these are all just feelings. And the thing about feelings is they are very much worth listening to, they are worth acting on, but they are often just a sign that something is off and that something needs to be fixed. So today, we are going to talk about how to fix all of this. First things first, listen to your body. Maybe you feel like crap all the time. I think a lot of people kind of go through their life not feeling great. They're kind of tense, they're sore, they sit all day, they don't get enough sunlight, they're not eating very well. If you feel like you're lethargic and you don't have enough energy, listen to your body. Like, do you feel like crap most of the time? If that's the case, then you probably want to change that up. Maybe it's just sleeping more, organizing your schedule in a way where you are able to get more sleep. Like Augie, do you ever feel like one thing that keeps you from motivation is those days or weeks when you're not really respecting your body enough?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the whole, if you stay up late the night before and do some drinking and stuff, when you wake up the next day, if you're supposed to make videos, I mean, you're not going to be into it. You're not going to be all pumped up to do it. It's going to feel like work. So yeah, I agree that taking care of your health is probably step one. I played basketball in college, and it was very competitive, and it was kind of the same thing. I took really good care of my body so that I could go into every single practice because, I'm competing for playing time in practice, ready to go to give my best effort. And, like some examples, I wouldn't have anything with sugar before practice. Like all day I was eating super healthy. And I had great meals, right? I was waking up, I was like making eggs, hash browns. I was making like full breakfast, full lunch. I was really taking care of all those things, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, because it's the same with creating videos, right? If you're, just not eating breakfast, just pounding a bunch of coffee and then, think you're going to record a video and 2:00 comes, you're supposed to hit record and you're just feeling all crappy and you go and take a nap or something. I mean, yeah, it does affect you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned pounding coffee without eating breakfast, because that was a struggle I had this morning, actually, where I was like, I got some podcasts to record starting at noon, and I want to have energy, but I also, I don't want to just eat oatmeal, because I find, with oatmeal, I just get a bunch of carbs, and then I kind of crash, and then plus the coffee, I mean, that's like a double crash, oh my god. So, your morning routine is super important here. And I think, with burnout, we kind of... there's a lot of hustle culture going around right now of just do it, make your dreams come true, as Shia LaBeouf says. And that can be great, but we don't operate in a vacuum. And I think often we expect too much of ourselves without properly caring for ourselves. So, whether that's getting sunlight, exercise, treating your body correctly, all this is really important. So at least for me, if I don't feel like eating breakfast in the morning, and I know this is super simple, but even just putting butter in my coffee. So that's bullet coffee. It may sound kind of gross, but actually it keeps you from crashing. It adds a lot of energy. It keeps you from getting jittery. So even just something very simple like that, starting your day off on the right foot and making sure that you have something that is easy, that fuels you to start off, is going to be huge. It's going to set the tone for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So just some simple advice from me.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And think about what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to compete with the big dogs. You're literally trying to gain or create a lifestyle for yourself where all you have to do is, for some people, right? Create videos and that's your full-time income. So don't think that it's going to be easy, and don't think that you can like come at it and just do it as like a hobby and like just all I got to do is just press the record button and start talking. And I'll do that like every other day, and I'll release 3 videos a week and I'm going to be a famous YouTuber. Like, no, you're competing with the big dogs, dude. You need to come at this right. Like, no sugar in the morning, you know, like kind of like I was talking about with the college stuff, like bring your A game and treat it like a job. You know, if you treat it like a job that you love, right, and something that you take very seriously, then you give yourself the best chance to succeed. I think that's just kind of the lesson learned there.
Yeah, for real. It's there's a lot more that goes into this than meets the eye. And, you know, as you said, bring your A game, do everything you can to nurture yourself so that you are feeling like you can bring your best. And so we are referencing the VidChops blog right now. This is a very helpful outline of all these things. So we'll link this in the description. But moving on to the next one, take on a fun side project. This can be helpful with burnout because, well, you know, when it comes to being an adult, there can be a lot of responsibilities. Maybe most days you wake up and there's a lot of things you feel like you have to do, but not a lot of things that you want to do. If you spend your entire existence living like this, you're going to get burned out. I mean, you are a human, you have desires, you have things that can fuel your soul. But if you're not doing them and you're constantly just trying to keep up with responsibilities and nothing else, of course you're going to get burned out. Of course you're not going to feel like taking on something extra. You know, in this case, it would be a YouTube channel. Like, what makes you think you're going to have the energy to show up in front of a camera if you're constantly grinding and you're constantly doing things that you have to do but don't necessarily want to do? So, you know, like Augie, are there any side projects or something that you've taken on that was fun, but also felt like it kind of taught you how to be productive in a way that was more aligned with yourself?
Yeah, I think, you know, like for me, like my goal was to make it on YouTube, to grow a following on YouTube. But I would go and do other things that were kind of unrelated, like exercising. Like there's a great example, right? Like not even hardcore exercising, but going for a walk. I felt like sometimes by just stepping outside, going for a walk, when I had like creative block, right? Like I knew I needed to create a video. I was sitting down to do it, but I just like found myself scrolling on Facebook or on Instagram and not doing any work. I would just go for a walk. And at that point, I felt like I could like almost kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because I was getting some exercise, going for a run, whatever. But I was also letting my mind, you know, let the gears turn in my brain to help me kind of come up with some creative ideas. And so like by the time I was done working out or whatever, and I got home, took my shower, sat back down, I was like inundated with ideas, right? Like I spent an hour and a half just, you know, just letting my mind kind of wander without being on social media and stuff. And that helped with my kind of my creative block. And then I was excited, right? Like once you have the ideas, like the burnout comes from like the block, right? Like the creative block. And then like, you just don't want to do it anymore because it's so hard to come up with good ideas. So if you're, you know, full of ideas, I feel like for me personally, like I feel inspired at that time. I'm like, oh my God, this video would be so sick. It would be so great. I'm going to make it. And then I feel motivated to make it.
Yeah, exercise is really great for that. Like just the concept of blood flow and sweating, and even just like either getting outside or to a gym, it can really like reset your brain and make you feel anew. So would highly recommend. One thing I did, so this was kind of like not during the pandemic, but it was kind of like as things were opening up for the first time, I took up rock climbing. So I got like a membership to an indoor climbing gym. And this was during a time when I was having a lot of trouble working, like getting motivated to work. You know, whenever I did, it felt like a slog. Like, why can't I just show up? Why is this so difficult? You know, is this going to be the rest of my life? Feeling like I have an albatross around my neck or whatever, to put it dramatically. And so rock climbing for me was great for that. It was challenging. I got to get outside. I met people, or not outside, but in a very large room. It almost felt like outside. And you know, it was a new skill. And like, I know this sounds sort of weird and unrelated, but even just the concept of climbing these super high walls, you know, the poet in me wanted to, it felt like climbing these walls and kind of dealing with my fear of heights was like a metaphor for dealing with all of the constraints and burdens of my job every day, or my YouTube channel, what have you, and kind of doing this thing that totally got me out of my comfort zone and was very different and nothing like what I usually did day to day was hugely helpful. I did feel like it kind of retrained my brain. It taught me I can do hard things, and ultimately, like it was just a great experience, and it did fuel me. So yeah, and this is just kind of speaking to the simplicity here. Just get out of your comfort zone, do something fun, and go with it. All right, number 3. Rethink your workstation. So this one's kind of interesting. I feel like I should kind of take the advice here a little better. I do have some decorations around my room, but ultimately, wherever you're working, the vibe is super important. If your office is really messy, if you don't have any decorations that you enjoy, if, I don't know, it smells weird in there, like maybe rethink that. Maybe your monitor setup isn't really fueling you. Maybe you're like hunched over because your monitor is too low. You want to have your knees at like a 90-degree angle and you don't want to be leaning forward. Make sure that you have these things in place and that you are comfortable working where you are. If you are sitting in a really cheap chair, you should invest. Like I spent $300 on my office chair, and that is a big chunk of change. I know everybody doesn't just have that lying around, but you can go on Craigslist, find good seating. My point here is just make sure you are comfortable where you are working, because you're going to be spending a lot of time there, and you want it to be a place that does feel motivating. You want it to be a place where it's not exhausting just to be there. Like Augie, I know you actually just had to reset up your workstation. How has that been for you? Kind of having to be between places and kind of deal with that.
Yeah, I think it does help with burnout because you talked about how it should be pleasant and and I don't know, just comfortable. To me, I would say it needs to be very functional, because I think when it comes to burnout, and especially when it comes to making videos, right? I mean, most people spend 70% of the time setting up. Like I've been there before, like setting up the camera, setting up the lighting, getting the camera to focus. Oh, now the lighting's not right. Oh, I need to zoom in. The framing's not right. Okay, setting up the background lights. There's like so much setup time when it comes to making videos that that alone could burn you out. So set up your workstation to be very easy to make a video. So if you are all of a sudden inspired to make a video and you're sitting there, all you got to do is just kind of reach across, press record, maybe open up the script or the outline on your computer, and then you're just kind of good to go, right? And you're recording a video instead of all this setup time. And then look around too, is your desk all cluttered and all that kind of stuff? If it is, that's not a good habit. Some people are messier than others, but I think all in all, sitting down at a nice, clean workstation with a little notepad there where you can jot something down, with a camera that's easy to hit record on, with your mic all set up and stuff, is kind of the first step of avoiding all the BS that comes with making videos. Because you're here to deliver your message and spread, information or entertain people and inspire people through your videos, not to spend an hour setting up your studio. And that was a huge challenge for me. I mean, it still is. I'm not on a good, consistent video schedule. Now it's for VidChops, we need to create some Facebook ads. I need to create these 3 videos. Okay. Then a couple of weeks go by and, we need you to create this video for this, whatever, success page or whatever. Okay. I'm going to go create the video and I got to set it all back up. And it's I'm creating a 2-minute video that doesn't even need a script. I just need to tell people hey, look below the video, click here, do this. I just need to get it out there. But then I spend forever setting it up because I want the lighting to be right. And it's just it takes 2 hours to record a 2-minute video that doesn't need a script. So, those are lessons that I've recognized myself. And then, also if you need help setting up your studio and stuff, get help. If you're close to burnout and you're oh my God, I'm I got a new camera. I don't know how to do this. Like, it's just frustrating. Like, get help. That'll, delegate something off your hands before you just call it quits and burn out and stop making videos. I'm sure later in the podcast, it remind me if we don't get to it, but we can both talk about our own little burnout struggles, because I know you've had one and I too have had one. So anytime, Grant, we can talk about that.
Yeah, sure. I'm down to talk about it right now. We can go through the list later, because I at least find talking about burnout and struggling with motivation, it's nice to hear the more personal side. Like these pieces of advice are super helpful. I've certainly applied them myself. But yeah, with the more personal side, it kind of humanizes it, makes people feel like they're not alone. So to jump into it. As most people know, my YouTube channel, Treesicle, was my full-time job for about 6 years. And we were pumping out a lot of videos. I made, like 500 videos over the years. And it was a lot. I was working with a team of 4, and it was awesome. It was fun, but also every week I had to show up and write a script that was funny, informative, entertaining. Then I had to get in front of the camera and say it with charisma. Then I had to hop on the computer and edit a bunch of it. I had other people on the team to help with editing, of course, but there's just a lot of things every week that had to be done. And every week it kind of felt like I was starting anew. We release a video, now it's time to come up with another one come Monday. And so it kind of like never ended. And over the years, the kind of pressure built up. We were also doing things covering topics like Five Nights at Freddy's that I liked, but we were doing so much to pay the bills, to cover topics that we liked, but maybe we're avoiding ones that we loved. And this, when you consistently do that so much, you kind of end up being uninspired. You at least for me, like the whole reason I got into this in the first place was so I could essentially do whatever I wanted. And when it felt like I was in these strict limitations of what I could talk about, and putting in all these crazy hours and putting in all of this creative energy, it just built up and up and up and up and up to the point where I actually had to sit down with my team and I was like, hey, I need a 3-week vacation. Otherwise, I will have a legitimate mental breakdown. I already had one, but it's the vacation kind of helped reset me. I ended up going on a 10-hour road trip out to Utah, and where there was no phone reception, no internet, and it was awesome. It was great, but I really had to deal with this kind of life I'd built for myself. I felt trapped in it. I felt like there was no way out, but turns out there was. This is kind of just the beginning of it. What I ultimately had to do was take a step back from the channel that was constricting me and find other ways to make money. And, for those listening, maybe your job is burning you out. Maybe it's a job that you once loved. Maybe it's a job you've always hated. But the point is, there's always a way out. And I think if you stop telling yourself that there is no way out, then you can start making steps and making plans to build a different life for yourself, even if it's incremental. And that's just kind of the gist of it.
Yeah. So what would you say? You said you took a little vacation, took some time off. But what would you say besides that, that gave you the ability to come back and hit record again?
So for me, it wasn't just one thing. The most important thing was finding a way to stop doing the thing that drove me crazy. And then I felt like I was kind of able to build myself back up from there. If you're constantly having to show up and do this thing that puts insane pressure on you, or that just bothers you for some reason, you're just so sick of it, then you're never gonna see things clearly. You're always going to get knocked off balance every day. Every day you got to go to work. Every day it's just too much for you to take. And if you aren't getting out of that or taking a step back from that somehow, I don't know, I wasn't able to see things clearly personally. So for me, it was kind of making videos had become corrupted. I stopped liking it. I was like, can I ever enjoy this again? There was a lot of, I don't want to say drama in my head, but that's kind of what it was, Oh, I'll never enjoy making videos ever again. I don't know if anything will ever be okay. And I started looking into jobs, just, working at a weed dispensary. I can't even make money with videos anymore. It's impossible. Stepping away from the thing that was causing me stress was the number one factor. And I think that gave me enough mental clarity to be able to start doing things I liked again. So then I started making videos on my personal channel where I was covering super weird topics that I loved. They were kind of like metaphysical, existential topics, as opposed to just kind of covering trending video games. So I think the break from what was killing me, combined with doing something that I was truly passionate about, was really important. And kind of that combination, and also working out more and kind of eating healthy, all these things together helped heal me. And now I'm in a place where I'm doing this podcast. I'm also freelancing on top of that and doing well with other clients. And I'm enjoying work again. It is possible. I do enjoy what I'm doing. I show up every day. I feel like I have a purpose, and I'm making some money, and it feels good. It's a happy story, Augie. It's a happy story.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good ending to the story. I would say my situation is similar in the fact that I had this feeling of burnout, but mine was a little bit different in that, my channel Baller Boot Camp I haven't uploaded on that channel in many years. And I, over about 4 years, I had uploaded maybe about 300 videos, close to 300 videos. And my burnout came from mostly just not getting the results that I wanted. I was putting in all this work, and not able to make that breakthrough to, get like 1 million views in a month or something like that. And I was really worried about the numbers. I'd totally forgotten about my followers and the people that actually watched my videos. I was only looking at the numbers, like how many views am I getting, basically subscribers, that kind of stuff. And it's sad because I had created something really cool. I had created a database of basketball, like a resource, right, of basketball training stuff that was, to me, the best on YouTube at the time. And when I left and I stopped making videos, it wasn't until then that I really saw oh yeah, people actually liked what I was doing. I'd gotten to the point where I wasn't replying to any comments. I wasn't even reading comments. I was just over that. And when I left, people were leaving comments. I hope you're okay, Augie. People were like, we wish you would come back, those kind of things. And I was like, oh, wow. I actually was making an impact, or reading comments I made my 7th grade team after, using these drills and that kind of stuff. That was the stuff I should have focused on. And I think I could have avoided burnout. I was, like I said, focused on the numbers. And when I wasn't getting the growth I wanted, I was recording these videos in the summer, playing basketball in Europe, overseas, releasing them once a week when I was in Europe, and then coming back in the summer. And eventually I said, I think I'm not going to play in Europe anymore. And I moved back here, and I was like, I'm going to focus on YouTube, and I'm really going to grow it. I'm quitting playing to focus on YouTube. And that's when I didn't see and I was uploading more then, more videos, what I thought were better videos. And I wasn't seeing the growth. And as soon as my wife, who was holding the camera the whole time for me for all these years, had gotten a job, she became a 3rd grade teacher. I didn't have my camera woman anymore. And I could have easily just been like, oh, maybe I'll just use a tripod, or maybe I'll just find somebody else that wants to, make $15 an hour and I'll pay them to film. I just said, oh no, I don't have my camera woman anymore. I can't, this is not going to work anymore. I can't do this. And that's basically when the channel, stopped. It was basically me using any little excuse, right, to like give it up. And, VidChops at the time was starting to grow. I had already started VidChops. It was definitely helpful that VidChops was editing my videos and all that. And I was growing that, but it was me just using that excuse of, oh, I don't have my camera woman anymore. I can't do this. I quit. And some days I think like, I'm going to make a comeback, cause at this point it's been 3-4 years since I uploaded it. And now I'm like a varsity head coach, got a lot of experience. Like I'm way better at teaching the game than I was back then. I know there's a lot of value I can give, but just not sure if I'll ever jump back into the basketball world, as I do plan on creating more videos just for a personal channel, talking about stuff that I like, maybe not basketball. And that's another thing too with Burnout, right? Maybe you saw this is like, the riches is in the niches. The riches is in the niches. So you get stuck in this niche, right? I'm like, how many times am I going to make a drill teach or a video about how to shoot a basketball? Like I can only make so many videos about that. So like, that's where the burnout comes in to play too. Is a lot of people think like, I've already created a video on that, And so I don't know if you felt like you were stuck. Did you ever feel like you were stuck in this niche and you just wanted to create other kind of videos?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was kind of the crux of the problem, was I was stuck in this very narrow environment with a lot of pressure on me. So like when you said that like any little excuse you use to take a step back from your channel, I don't know if that's actually a bad thing. Like clearly things have evolved for you and you've found other ways to kind of build a business. Like sometimes we move past something that was once really important to us. I think that's okay. It doesn't even mean you'll be gone forever. I mean, you mentioned like some days you feel like you are going to make a comeback, and like, yeah, maybe that was a legitimate reason. That how many times are you going to make a video about how to shoot a basketball? Like if you're sick of doing it, if you don't feel like you really have anything to add, then maybe you don't. Maybe it's time to, as you did, you started VidChops.com and that has gone great for you. So like, is that really a problem? Sometimes I think burnout is a sign that our priorities and our interests have shifted. I think for you and for me, that's kind of just what happened. And the nice thing about YouTube also is you can always pick it up when you feel like it. I still occasionally post to my channel, and maybe one day you will also post to Baller Bootcamp again. And that's okay. Like we've found other things that are more fulfilling to do with our time, because we're not the same people that we were 5 years ago. And that I think is a beautiful thing. It means that we are evolving.
Yeah, and if you look at like all the big name creators, I feel like they do step away for a little bit and come back. And another thing they do is they change up their upload schedule. Like, does Casey Neistat still do daily vlogs? Heck no, he does like one a month, or if that. And, there was a time though when he was super inspired and he was maybe going through that hustle time where he was making like daily vlogs that are and a lot of content and stuff. And most creators do that. They'll go and just the ones that we've looked at, right? All the channels that we look at, we're like, oh, look, at this point in time, they were creating so many videos. They were getting like 40 million views a month. Oh, look, now they're only getting 20 million views a month. But back then they were creating, 3 a week. Now they're only creating 2 a month, and so their views did drop a little bit, but not enough to really affect them, and their quality of life maybe is a lot better. So I think it's the evolution. I think there is a time, if you want to make it on YouTube, there is going to be a time where you're going to have to work hard. Like growing on YouTube is a great thing, and it's worth it to be able to make money, whether it's a side hustle or whether it's a full-time thing for you. Like there's a lot of value in being able to do that. That's really cool, but it's not going to come easy because it's really cool. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And I mean, how many people do you know say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel? Like at this point, when people say that to me, I just say, best of luck to you. Great. And what normally happens is they'll make a video and that's it. They make one video and that's it. And it's because it's hard. It's not easy. And there's a huge learning curve. But for me, if you want to avoid burnout, I would say there's a balance to the videos you create. Yes, you have to create good quality videos, but you need to systematize it in a way where you're not, like I said, setting up your entire studio every time you have to hit record, where you're not, looking through an entire audio library of music and spending 2 hours to find one song to use for your background music. Systematize it. Use one song in every video. That's your song. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Maybe hire an editor, right? Maybe, find a system that works good for you for scripting, right? Find a system that works good for you to come up with video topics, because I think that's probably like the hardest part, is coming up with topics that you think are good. And once you're able to systematize the whole process and just create videos on the fly, you're giving yourself the best chance at least to not burn out and to actually publish videos and not just release one video and call it quits. So that's my 2 cents there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm also glad that you mentioned being frustrated by a lack of results or a lack of numbers. You felt like you had kind of plateaued view-wise. I'm sure this happens to a lot of people when they're starting a channel too. As you said, they release one video, maybe 2 or 3. They don't see much traction, and then they kind of give up. And that is very common. And I think maybe when you're focused a lot on numbers and nothing else, or like the lack of numbers is really frustrating you, maybe this isn't really the right niche for you. When it comes to owning your niche, you should, I think, have an inherent desire to express yourself in that area. So for me, like my personal channel, I, cover existential topics, like kind of weird ones, and I made these videos. They didn't get as much traction as I would have wanted. The channel has like, I think 7,500 subscribers or something. And each video has anywhere from like 3,000 views to like 20 something thousand. So it's not like a huge channel or anything. There's 5 videos on it, but having made those videos, I feel a lot better. I felt like I accomplished something. I felt like I got these abstract ideas down and out into the world. And having done that, I feel a sense of accomplishment. I didn't sure, I would have liked to see more growth, but ultimately I think making these videos helped me not burn out because I did something I enjoyed. I saw the process through to completion, and that I feel good about that. And I enjoyed what came of it. And that feels wholesome.
Those are some pretty dang good numbers. I mean, yeah, it's not a huge channel, but I mean, how long ago did you release those videos?
I think the oldest one is like 2.5 years old or something.
Okay, that's some pretty solid growth. If you're listening to this and just starting out, there's a chance that Grant saw that kind of growth because of his pre-existing channel.
I did. I pitched some of the videos on Treesicle and on Bonsai Pop, on my anime channel. So yes, sorry, I'm not trying to like
7,500 subscribers on 5 videos.
It's so bad. No, I mean, I was coming from a place where I had almost 1 million subscribers, and then hundreds of thousands on a different channel. And I don't know, maybe this is coming off as humble bragging or something. Hopefully not. But point is, like, relative to what I was used to, and relative the fact that I was pitching this channel on very large channels, it felt like something more should have happened, maybe. Again, it's all relative. As a professional YouTuber, my numbers are a bit skewed. To someone starting out. Don't compare yourself to this, please.
Yeah, and I would say, like, people starting out, this is something that I've heard from somebody that does YouTube automation, where they, create like top 10 channels and stuff like that. Is they say when they start a channel, they don't even look at the numbers until they get 33 videos up. Once they have 33 videos on the channel, then they go back and see, okay, which video did well. And then they kind of like tailor the niche of that channel to that. I mean, it already is kind of niched down, but that they'll take it and say, okay, well, it looks like race car top 10 videos do the best. So they'll start kind of making more of those kind of videos. And if you're starting out on YouTube, like set that goal for yourself, 33 videos. Let's get to 33 videos, and then let's take a look at what's doing decent. And the crazy thing is too, like you could release 33 videos and your best video could be like 50 to 100 views. Like it can really be hard to get traction starting out, you guys. I mean, at that point you should say, okay, what am I doing wrong if I'm, my best video is getting less than 100 views? But that is realistic. I mean, we see some channels where they're like 1,000 videos in, like that's really, it's a long-term play. And really the only way to see big growth in the beginning is if you're able to create a video that has that great click-through rate, great average view duration, and then YouTube, the algorithm essentially promotes it out and recommends it to people who already kind of are interested in the same niche of that video that you created. So that's kind of where you guys want to be. Remember, to make it on YouTube, it's simple. Create great videos. Create great videos. And if you're not striving for that, to create for every single one of your videos to be better than the last, then maybe you're not doing it right. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, so I love the idea of creating 33 videos and then looking at the channel after. I am curious how they went about doing that, because like, did they pay somebody else to upload their videos? How did they avoid seeing their own channel while posting to it?
Well, I think they would look at the videos still, but they would really not go deep into like change. Like they were trying different types, right? They would say like, okay, this is this kind of video. Okay, this next one's a little bit different. It's a talking head, more talking head. This one's more like vlog style. This one's talking about this. Okay, after 30, they would watch the views. After 33 videos, they would say, okay, which ones actually did well, that did the best? And then they would kind of tailor the rest of then they would really niche down fully to where they were what that channel was gonna be.
I got you. Okay, so they didn't really make any huge decisions on the channel's future until they had released a kind of wide array of videos, and or at least like sort of different types of videos to see what works.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to come up with an example. Let me just say surfing. Okay, so they might make like a bunch of videos on how to make surfboards. Then the other ones would be like surfboard tutorials. The other ones would be like top 10 surfers in the world, and then like these different kinds. And then whatever type of video was doing the best, types of video, then they would niche down and go all in on those. That's kind of the strategy. And we're talking about YouTube automation. So, I mean, that's like where, you hire a bunch of people to use like random footage and just use a voiceover and a script writer, and you don't even go on camera. It's not, we've covered it in this, we'll link to in the show notes. We've covered it on this podcast, what that is, but that was the type of videos they were creating.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And I think that's smart because you don't really know what's going to work until you try it. And the 33 number, it's kind of a magical number. It's a big number, but it's also not a huge number. And I think if you can get to the point where you make that many videos, you've kind of proven that you can do it to yourself. And also you have, you've probably streamlined things to a certain extent at that point.
Yeah, I've seen like a stat somewhere. I wish I knew it off the top of my head, where it showed like, okay, channels that have 100,000 subscribers, this is how many videos they've uploaded. Channels that have 10,000 subscribers, this is how many videos they uploaded. And you'd be astonished. It was like the 100,000 subscriber mark was like over 500 videos to get to that mark, and the 10,000 subscriber mark was still like 250 videos or something pretty high up there. And so many YouTubers, they see like exponential growth, right? They'll be like flat, little increase, flat, little increase, flat, and then just boom, and then they get to that like whatever, so many video upload mark, 1 or 2 videos take off, then the next one takes off. And there is a snowball effect. Like if you do release a great video and it takes off on the algorithm and getting views, like the next video cannot be a dud, right? Don't just throw anything up for the next video. Like, you want to ride that roller coaster, because YouTube will continue to recommend the next video out. If it performs as well, okay, recommend it out. Next one performs well, okay, recommend it out. And you'll notice it yourself as you log into YouTube and look on the homepage. Like, if there was a video that you watched yesterday that you really liked and you watched all the way through, there's going to be another video recommended to you right there by the same creator normally. So, that's a little bit of how it works. You kind of want to keep up once you have a good video.
Yeah, I agree. There's a concept of view velocity
Yeah.
that is crucial. It's the more views you get, the more views you will get. And really, it's simple. It's kind of what is it? Newton's third law: objects in motion tend to stay in motion.
Yeah.
I think that's the third law. And it's true. It works in YouTube as well. So the next one is define clear limits. How many instances a day do you say yes when you really want to say no? And I think this can happen in a lot of aspects of our lives. Like, it could even be in a relationship. Maybe you're dating somebody who is kind of a mooch. Maybe, you do all the cleaning and they don't clean anything, but you also have a full-time job. You work as much as they do. Maybe you're putting too much energy into things that aren't serving you. Not saying you should necessarily break up with this person, but maybe you should. Maybe you just need to talk to them. Maybe have a heart-to-heart and sort of come to the realization that this isn't quite working for you the way that it's going right now. This could also just be your job. You have a 9-to-5 job, you have a day job. Just because 9 to 5, the hours are supposedly set, there can still be an expectation. Like, if somebody sends you an email at 9 p.m., maybe you feel like you have to respond that night. Maybe you are kind of getting projects dumped on you that other people don't want to do at your company, and you kind of end up doing all this extra work because you feel like if you don't, then you aren't delivering enough. I think a lot of this comes to standing up for yourself and kind of knowing your worth and not taking on more than you should be taking on. Because this is going to drain you in other aspects of your life. Even just the concept of feeling like you're working all the time, feeling like you have to check your email in the evening in case somebody sends an email, even if an email never even comes that evening, you're still kind of in the back of your head running this little program that's like, oh, check the email. Like, is somebody going to say something? Oh, God, what if I say the wrong thing when they do respond? Like, instead of just kind of unplugging, you end up draining your energy constantly, 24/7 on the weekend and the evenings. Like, you just stand up for yourself. Like, Augie, did you ever have an instance where you felt like maybe a job was creeping into your life, or, I don't know, you had some ex-girlfriend who was draining your energy or something, where you weren't really defining clear limits?
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, it's basketball related, right? Like, dealing with unhappy players or coach or parents. I mean, that's something that definitely an outside thing that'll influence me negatively. Like, when it comes to work or other things, where I'll just be like, I'll get maybe an email from an upset parent, and I'll spend like 3 hours writing like 20 different replies, right? And just deleting them, and then writing another one and be like, no, I don't like that one, deleting it, stuff like that. So outside influences can really knock you down, especially when you're trying to create videos and be creative. And so I think it's best to, it's just healthy practices, right? Like, turn off your phone or turn your phone on airplane mode every now and then, or, if you're eating dinner with your family, don't have your phone out, stuff like that. All those good, healthy things that we know we should do, which are kind of hard to do nowadays with social media and everything, are definitely going to help you just live a happier life. And when it comes to avoiding burnout, it's all kind of tied together to be motivated to work and create those videos. I want to mention one quick thing as far as a tip that I just thought of, that I've talked about before, but to me, it's a huge tip, and that's time blocking. Like, time block, if you're going to create videos, like, block out some time that you're going to actually hit record. Like, I know, like, the most consistent people on YouTube, like, they hit record on Monday from, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Like, they don't do anything else. Like, you can't get on the phone with them. If you call them, they will not answer. If someone tries to book a meeting with them, like, even like for VidChops, like, I'll have the opportunity to book a meeting with somebody, and I'll be like, hey, does this time work? And it'll be a big meeting for them, and they'll be like, nah, I'm recording videos in that time, or, that's actually happened. That's when I kind of came to me, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a cool thing to like not let anything get in the way during that time. And that's kind of what I plan on doing. In July, I'm going to start hitting record again for VidChops and my own personal channel, just talking about business, YouTube, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to time block it, man. I'm going to say, hey, by this time on this day and this day, I got to hit record, and not script, not do anything. That all needs to be done at this time. I'm sitting down, and I'm going to just better hit record by then. And I feel like if I do that and I hit those times and I hit record, like then I can't fail. Like at least I could fail as far as like not getting views and the algorithm not loving my content and stuff like that. But I can't fail as far as not creating content. And like, that's really what most people fail on. It's like, it's the actual publishing of videos, like Gary V, like love him or hate him. Like that guy creates a ton of content, and he always says like, hey, I guarantee if you just publish for 2 years straight, like you will have a 6-figure business. Like you will have made a dent in your industry. But the thing is, like most people just won't do that. Like they won't hit record for 2 years straight. So, that's my thing is time block it out, you guys. That way you have the content, and also creating like a backlog, like don't put pressure on yourself to like, if your release schedule is once a week and you're recording just once a week and that you have to hit that deadline and you got to stay up till midnight to edit that video to make that deadline, like that's not going to be healthy for you. Like you will burn out. Instead, have a backlog, have like, 10 videos already saved up, and then there's no pressure on you. So those are some good tips, I think.
Definitely. And yeah, the power of a backlog cannot be overstated. It does give you a lot of wiggle room, and it helps you stick to things, like maybe accumulate a few videos before you even start releasing.
Yeah.
I think like that way you have a backlog before you even start. And then as far as like time blocking, I think that's a fantastic idea, especially the more you do it and the more you stick to it, the easier it's going to be, in my opinion, because, you've kind of trained yourself this day, this time, this is just what you do. It becomes a habit. It becomes a pattern, and, you just kind of fall into the pattern and things get easier from there.
Yeah, totally agree. And, I know we're getting to the end here, but here's another really powerful tip, because for me, the hard part a lot of times is topics, coming up with the video topic. Once I have a topic, I can riff on that, like I can just go for hours talking about that topic. But to find a good topic, I think is hard. So, a quick little tip, like a technical tip, would be to open up a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet and just call it video topic database. And then anytime you come up with an idea, just have the app on your phone, open up that spreadsheet, don't even do anything, but just punch in that topic right there. And hopefully and it's let the ideas flow. Like if you feel like you're feeling creative, you're sitting on the couch bored watching TV, and your boyfriend or somebody, your girlfriend sitting over there, and you just got your phone out, instead of swiping on Instagram like everyone's doing, just open up that sheet and just start punching them in, like topic. So then when it comes time, your time block, okay, I got to hit record in 30 minutes. You open that up and you're like, that's the one I'm going with. Quick little outline, bam, record. So I like that idea.
Love it. Yeah. And as far as like people being on their smartphone, I think this is an important one too. This does kind of tie into defining clear limits, because people get addicted to social media. They get addicted to their phone. And this is, most people know this now, but I think maybe they haven't really realized how deeply it affects them. Like there was this one time a couple months ago, I was flying on a plane, and the guy sitting next to me was on his phone the entire time. Like he was just scrolling through Instagram, and his body language and his facial expression the whole time, he just looked like tired and defeated, and he was just scrolling forever, and it never stopped. And he just looked miserable. And like, the more you fill your time with that, the more you become that guy slouched over looking tired and miserable. Like, take social media addiction seriously. Like if you feel like you can't go very long without checking it, you have an addiction, and it is negatively affecting you. It is destroying your attention span. It is making you less happy than you would be. It is filling your head with things that probably aren't the best, whether that's making you compare yourself to others, or even just kind of reprogramming your brain to desire like instant gratification. All this is really bad. Please set a limit for yourself. One thing I did, I actually changed my phone background to like a gray slate. I don't know if you can see this, but it's just gray. And what that did is it made it very not visually stimulating. So I'm kind of less inclined to check it. When you have like a beautiful landscape, it kind of makes you want to open your phone more. So just a little piece of advice there.
Yeah, I like that tip. And just the whole, I mean, yeah, the social media addiction thing is real. I mean, and to be honest, we all have it to a certain extent at this point. It's sad, but we do all have it. And teenagers have it the worst, right? I mean, they're just, it's bad. I mean, that's why parents take away their phone, right? If you get in trouble, the first thing your parents are going to do is take away your phone, because that they know that you know that's what you care about so much, and it's pretty unfortunate. But yeah, you know, we talked about a lot of things today. I think it was a good episode because we did talk about the more a little bit abstract, like taking care of your health if you know, to avoid burnout and to hit record more often. And then we talked about the technical things with some Google Sheets and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely some good tips in this one.
Yep, I agree. So just a super quick summary: listen to your body, take on a fun, useful, helpful side project, rethink your workstation, you know, make it look pretty, buy a comfortable chair, and define clear limits. You know, just all these things are simple, and just go about it. You will find that you'll feel better applying these things. And hopefully our personal anecdotes helped as well. And hey, if you are watching this on YouTube, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or anything like that, make sure to follow so you can not miss a single episode and get up to date on all of our awesome, super useful advice on how to build and succeed on YouTube and in your personal business ventures.